Ever wonder if, like, the things you do today could have consequences that stretch way beyond this life, like ripples, just echoing through time, shaping not just your present, but maybe even another life, a future you?
It's a question that has fascinated people for ages.
Yeah, it's like one of those big mysteries.
Right at the heart of it are these two ideas that are kind of intertwined: karma and reincarnation.
And that's exactly what we're diving into today.
We're going deep.
The concept of karma and reincarnation. That's our source material.
I love this topic.
Me too. But before we get too far, let me just say up front, this isn't about trying to convert anyone to any specific belief system or anything like that.
No, not at all.
This is about understanding.
Exploring.
Yeah, just looking at these ideas, from a neutral place, unpacking the philosophy, all the stories and myths, seeing where it all takes us.
Exactly.
Well, who knows? Maybe we'll even find some practical wisdom we can use in our lives today.
I think we will.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And our source material suggests we start with the mythological roots. It's fascinating how these ancient cultures grappled with questions of cause and effect and morality, the soul's journey, all that stuff.
It is fascinating. The idea of karma and reincarnation is so deeply embedded in Indian culture.
Oh yeah.
You find early hints of these concepts in the Vedas, those ancient scriptures that go back like over 3,000 years.
3,000 years. That's mind-blowing. What did they say about karma back then?
Well, in the Vedas, they touched on the idea that actions have consequences, shaping a person's place in the universe. But it's in the Upanishads, these philosophical texts connected to the Vedas, where karma as a moral law really takes shape.
Okay, so things are getting interesting here. Tell me more about the Upanishads and karma.
So they didn't present karma as some judgmental deity, meting out punishments and rewards.
Okay.
It was more like an impersonal force of the fabric of existence itself, a system of cause and effect.
Interesting.
It binds all beings, every thought, every action, it all sets off these ripples in this cosmic fabric, and it's ultimately striving for balance.
For balance.
Right. Which is Dharma.
Okay, so karma is like this universal law of cause and effect.
Yes.
And Dharma is like the state of equilibrium, the balance that this law seeks to maintain.
You could say that, yes. Dharma is often translated as righteous duty or the right way of living.
Okay.
But it's more about aligning yourself with this cosmic balance, with a purpose that's in harmony with the universe.
Got it. So where does reincarnation fit into all of this?
It's inseparable from karma.
Oh, really?
Reincarnation, or samsara, is the cyclical journey of the soul, which is known as the atman.
Okay.
It's a cycle of birth, death, and rebirth that keeps going until the soul achieves liberation, freedom from this cycle.
So like each lifetime is like a chapter
Yes.
in the soul's ongoing story.
Exactly.
And karma is the thread connecting them all.
Beautifully put. And it's a story that's not just told in Hinduism, but also in Jainism and Buddhism.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that.
The details may differ, but that core concept of the soul's journey through multiple lifetimes, that remains consistent.
Okay, so we've got the basic framework.
We do.
But these are ancient concepts shrouded in all this mythology and symbolism.
Right.
How do they actually play out in real life? Our source mentions some really cool myths that illustrate karma and reincarnation.
Oh, absolutely. Stories have always been a great way to transmit wisdom.
Right.
To illustrate these abstract concepts. Take, for instance, the tale of King Harata,
Okay.
whose deep attachment to this deer he had rescued led to his rebirth as a deer in his next life.
A king turned into a deer. Talk about a demotion. It seems like his compassion kind of backfired there.
It illustrates a crucial point.
Okay.
Karma isn't about simple reward and punishment. It's about those consequences, sometimes unforeseen, that stem from our actions and attachments.
So even a positive emotion like compassion could have karmic consequences. It really makes you think.
It does. These stories aren't just entertaining, they make you stop and think about your choices.
They do.
And there's also the myth of Ravana, the demon king from the Ramayana. He had this unquenchable thirst for power, and this arrogance that came with it led him to do some terrible things. This condemned him to a cycle of rebirths where he faced the repercussions again and again.
It sounds like even a king, or a demon king in this case, can't escape the consequences of their actions.
Exactly. No one, regardless of their position or power, can escape the law of karma.
What a powerful reminder.
It begs the question, what kind of seeds are we planting today with our actions? What kind of karmic harvest awaits us, maybe even in a future lifetime?
Wow, I'm starting to feel the weight of that question. But before we spiral into an existential crisis, can you give me a little more clarity on how this whole karma thing works?
Sure.
The source material mentioned 3 types of karma, right? Can you break those down for me?
Absolutely. Think of it like a cosmic bank account.
A cosmic bank account.
All right.
I'm intrigued.
So the first type is Sanchita karma. That's your total balance. The accumulation of all actions, good and bad, from every single past life you've lived. It's It's like a cosmic record of every karmic deposit and withdrawal you've ever made.
So every thought, every action, every intention, it's all recorded. Intense. What happens to this balance?
Well, a portion of that vast karmic reservoir is allocated to your current life. That's Prarabdha karma. It's like the amount you're allowed to spend in this lifetime based on your past actions.
Oh, I see.
Prarabdha karma shapes everything from your birth circumstances to those inherent talents and challenges you're born with.
So that explains why some people seem to be born under a lucky star, while others face hardships right out of the gate.
It's one way to look at it. And even those powerful figures in mythology, like the kings and demon kings we talked about, they couldn't escape their Prarabdha karma. They had to face the music, even if they had no memory of those past actions.
That's pretty sobering. But if we're already born with this set amount of karmic debt or credit, do our present choices even matter?
They matter immensely. That's where Kriyamana karma comes into play. That's the new karma you create every day. Through your choices, actions, and intentions. Think of it as making new deposits and withdrawals from your karmic bank account. Even if you were born with a certain karmic balance, you're not a puppet of fate.
So even though our past actions shape our present, we still have the power to change our future through our choices.
Precisely. Kriyamana karma is where free will comes in. Every decision you make, every action you take ripples outward, impacting not just your present, but also shaping your future, maybe even beyond this lifetime.
It's like a dance between destiny and free will.
Exactly. Your past might influence your present, but your future is still being written.
I'm starting to see the complexity here. It's not just a simple equation of good actions equal good karma and bad actions equal bad karma.
Right.
It's multi-layered,
It is.
with past and present actions all influencing our karmic balance. But how do we navigate this system?
Yeah.
How do we even know which actions lead to a positive karmic balance? This is where Dharma comes back in.
You got it. Dharma is our compass in this intricate dance of karma. It guides us toward actions and choices that create greater harmony, both within ourselves and in the world around us.
This is where it gets really interesting.
It does. This concept of Dharma adds another layer to our understanding of karma and reincarnation. It suggests that our actions have meaning and purpose, and that by aligning ourselves with our own unique Dharma, we can create a more fulfilling and meaningful life, both now and in lifetimes to come.
Okay, I am ready to dive deeper into Dharma. So Dharma, it's not just some rigid set of rules though, right?
No, it's more like a guiding principle.
Okay, like a moral compass.
Exactly. It points us towards actions that create balance and contribute to the greater good.
So Dharma is about aligning our choices with a greater purpose. But how do we know what our Dharma even is? What our specific role in this whole grand cosmic play might be?
It's a journey of self-discovery for sure. There's no one answer that fits everybody.
Right, of course.
The ancient texts say that fulfilling your Dharma means understanding your unique strengths, your talents, the circumstances of your life. It's about finding that sweet spot where your actions match your nature and what the world needs.
So it's not about blindly following some predetermined path. It's about shaping our lives in a way that's authentic and purposeful.
You got it. And here's the beauty of it. When you act in accordance with your Dharma, you naturally create positive karma. But when you stray from your Dharma, when you create disharmony or harm, that's when you accumulate negative karma.
So it's like Dharma is the key to unlocking the positive potential of this whole karmic system.
That's a great way to put it. But it's important to remember that following your Dharma, it doesn't guarantee a life free of challenges or suffering. The ancient texts have many stories about this.
Oh, I love a good story. Got one for us.
Consider Yudhishthira from the Mahabharata. This guy truly embodied Dharma. He was known for his righteousness, his commitment to truth and justice, but his life, oh man, it was tough. He lost his kingdom, endured years of exile, faced tons of trials.
So if following his Dharma led to so much suffering, what's the point?
That's the big question, isn't it? Yudhishthira's story, and there are many others like it, show that Dharma is not about seeking comfort or avoiding pain. It's about aligning yourself with a higher purpose. Even when it's hard, even when it leads you through tough times, the reward might not come right away or in this world. It's about spiritual growth, the inner transformation that comes from staying true to your principles.
It's about the journey, not the destination.
Right.
Dharma isn't just about our actions though, right? It's also about our internal state, our intention.
You nailed it. You could do a seemingly virtuous act like donating to charity, but
Right.
if you do it out of ego or wanting recognition, the positive karmic impact shrinks. The true measure of Dharma lies in the purity of your intention, the why behind your actions.
It's like that saying, it's the thought that counts, but in this case, it's the thought behind the action that really matters.
Exactly. And while Dharma is deeply tied to Hinduism, it's not limited to that tradition. You see similar ideas in Buddhism and Jainism.
Oh, really? How does Dharma show up in those traditions?
Well, in Buddhism, there's Dhamma, which is basically Dharma. It emphasizes living by the Buddha's teachings, which lead to enlightenment and the end of suffering. And in Jainism, it's all about nonviolence and self-discipline to purify the soul and align with Dharma.
So across these different traditions, Dharma is seen as the path to a more harmonious and fulfilling life.
Exactly. And this brings us right back to reincarnation, that eternal dance of the soul. Remember the goal of this whole cycle of birth, death, rebirth? It's to evolve, to learn and grow, and finally to be liberated from the cycle.
Soul school.
Yeah.
Each lifetime is a new chance to get things right, to learn and grow. And Dharma is like the roadmap to navigate those lifetimes in a way that leads to understanding and ultimately liberation.
I love that. Soul school. And this idea rests on the concept of the atman, the eternal self, the soul that lives on beyond any one lifetime.
So our bodies die, but the atman, our essence, keeps going.
That's the belief. The Bhagavad Gita has this beautiful analogy. It says that just like a person throws away old clothes and puts on new ones, the soul gets rid of old bodies and takes on new ones.
Wow, what a visual. The soul, this eternal essence, traveling through time shedding and acquiring new bodies as it evolves. But if we don't remember past lives, how do those lessons carry over? What gets transferred from one life to the next?
Now that's a question that has baffled people for ages. Some think that while you might not remember specific things, the soul builds up a kind of wisdom, a deeper understanding through all those experiences.
So the soul is like being refined over and over, becoming purer with each lifetime.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And Indian mythology is full of stories that explore this idea, the soul's journey and fulfilling a destiny across multiple lifetimes.
Okay, I'm always down for a good story. Tell me more.
Okay, so there's the story of Abhimanyu, this young warrior from the Mahabharata. Some believe he was a partial incarnation of celestial beings, sent to Earth for a specific purpose. His life, even though it was cut short, was full of incredible courage and skill.
Hold on, partial incarnation. What does that mean?
It's complicated, but basically it means that only part of a soul might be born at one time. While other parts are in other realms or even other bodies, it makes reincarnation even more complex.
So it's not just random souls being born over and over. There might be a deeper plan unfolding across lifetime.
That's what a lot of these myths suggest. Like Abhimanyu's story implies he was born to fulfill a destiny, to play a key role in this cosmic drama, even if it meant a short life. It makes you wonder, are our lives random, or are we part of a larger interconnected story?
I feel like this conversation is about to go even deeper. I'm ready.
Yeah.
But are these ideas of karma and reincarnation just ancient stuff, or do they have a place in modern times?
That's a great question. They're definitely rooted in the past, but they're not just relics. Actually, there's a growing interest in exploring karma and reincarnation in modern thought and even in science.
Okay, so we've dug into these ancient concepts of karma and reincarnation. We've seen how they're woven into ancient myths and philosophical texts, even some hints of them in modern research. But let's be real for a second. It's easy to get lost in all the philosophical stuff. What does it all actually mean for us, as we go about our daily lives?
That is the million-dollar question. How do we ground these grand cosmic ideas in our everyday experiences? I think one of the most important takeaways is that we have to take responsibility.
Okay.
Recognizing that what we do has consequences not just in this life, but maybe even across lifetimes, that makes us think more carefully about our choices.
So it's not about obsessing over some cosmic scorecard, keeping track of all our good deeds and bad deeds.
Oh, no.
It's more about understanding that our actions have a real impact. They shape not just our journey, but the world around us.
You got it. It's about understanding that we're not just passengers, along for the ride. We're active participants shaping our reality with each choice we make and every action we take.
That's powerful stuff. To think we're accountable for our past actions and at the same time have control over our future karmic path makes you want to step back and really think about the ripple effects of our choices, doesn't it?
It does. And this leads to another big insight.
Okay.
Growth. The concept of reincarnation, whether you believe it literally or see it as a metaphor, tells us we're on a journey. It's a journey of learning and evolving. Every lifetime gives us unique challenges and opportunities to grow as a soul.
So instead of being afraid of those challenges or setbacks, we can see them as lessons, as stepping stones on this path of evolution.
Exactly. It really changes how we think about failure. It encourages us to be resilient, to learn from our mistakes, knowing that we might have multiple lifetimes to get things right, to work through our baggage and reach a greater level of harmony and wisdom.
It's comforting in a way to know that even if we totally mess things up in this life, it's not game over. There's always another chapter to come.
And remember, karma, it's not about punishment or reward in a black and white way. It's about balance, about things evening out. Each lifetime gives us a chance to learn from the imbalances we've caused by our actions, to try to understand ourselves and our place in the universe better.
Okay, so we've got responsibility, we've got growth and balance. But honestly, I still struggle with the idea of karma feeling like it's all predetermined, like it's set in stone. How does that work with free will?
That's a common struggle and a good question. Remember those 3 types of karma we talked about? Sanchita, our total from past lives, Prarabdha, the portion we're dealing with in this life, and Kriyamana, the new karma we're creating with our choices right now.
Right, the cosmic bank account.
Yes. Think of Prarabdha karma, like the terrain you're given to work with. Could be mountains or a nice flat plain. But how you travel on that terrain, the paths you pick, the things you build, that's where Kriyamana karma comes in. And that's where free will has its say.
So even though what we did in the past shaped where we are now, we're not just blindly following a script. We get to choose our direction, make our own path.
Exactly. It's this constant back and forth between influences from the past and the choices we make now. We're inheritors of our karma and also the architects of our future.
That's a powerful thought. It's like that quote, life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I react to it. Except in this case, it's our karmic inheritance that gives us that initial 10%.
Perfect analogy. And that's why it's so important to cultivate things like mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom. These qualities help us make choices that create a more positive karmic path, not just for ourselves, but for everyone.
It's a beautiful idea, isn't it?
Yeah.
That our actions can ripple out so far beyond our own lives, affecting others, shaping the universe itself.
It is. It points to the fact that everything is connected, a theme that runs throughout all these teachings about karma and reincarnation.
You know, I've heard people say, what goes around comes around, to talk about karma. But this conversation has shown me it's way deeper than that. It's not about some force punishing or rewarding us. It's about balance, about growth, and the interconnectedness of everything.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's a system that encourages us to take responsibility, to aim for harmony in our lives and the world, and to see that we're all in this together, all evolving together.
I'm leaving this conversation with a renewed sense of purpose and a deeper appreciation for how everything is connected. It makes you want to live more mindfully, doesn't it?
It does. We've only scratched the surface of these complex ideas, but I think we've gained some valuable insights. This journey of understanding karma and reincarnation is never really over. It's full of mystery and wonder.
And hey, who knows, maybe in some future lifetime, we'll pick this conversation right back up.
I would love that. But for now, let's take these insights and carry them with us into this present moment, trying our best to live with more awareness, more compassion, and a deep understanding of how interconnected life really is.
Beautiful. And if this deep dive has sparked your curiosity, remember, there's a whole world of resources out there to explore. Happy exploring.